So many apps, so little time. I originally wrote this article a couple of years back, and Shafat Kazi, the CEO of BQE Software, wrote kind of his own rebuttal article, and I noticed that he wrote a reprise or follow-up of these articles recently this year, so I decided to follow suit and do a reprise of my own article on so many apps, so little time. And in the bigger picture here, I want to talk about applications that help run a business. You know, a couple of years ago, I was very focused on the fact that there were going to be a lot of apps to learn. There already were a lot of apps to learn. And I was focused on learning how to sort of navigate this forest fire of applications that were out there, trying to figure out which ones you needed, which ones you didn't within a certain area. Do I need a CRM? Which kind of CRM do I need? What does it need to do? You can go on and on. And in the write-up here, I describe two kinds of people. There are the people like me who are sort of junkies for this kind of thing. We can't get enough. We just always want to try the newest, latest, and greatest. And then there's most of the rest of you, which are people who fall in the category of, I just need an app to fill a void. I need a solution. I need a CRM. And I don't want to have to spend thousands of hours researching which CRM is the best one. I would rather somebody just tell me which one is the best one. So there's good news and bad news here. One is that there's never any one-size-fits-all solution that anybody can say, hey, if you need a CRM, this is the one. There always needs to be a conversation. And it may not even be a conversation. It may be research that you can do on your own to determine what features are most important to you. What do you need that CRM to do? Do you need it to track a sales pipeline, or is it more of a contact management thing where you do want to be able to keep track of conversations and things, but you're not so much concerned with what leads you have coming in and what the potential value of winning a contract with them might be. There's lots of dynamics to our CRM, and I'm using that as one example. Now, in the write-up, I laid out a number of major areas of applications that I use in my own firm to determine what goes where and what things I need and which solutions I have, or which problems I should say I have a solution for. And we outline them as accounting applications, communications, CRM, document management, e-commerce, payroll, productivity in general, project management, scheduling, and social media. So with that, I wanted to give you a video here on something I referenced in the write-up where I made a suggestion that, and there's an app out there called Workflowy that will help you start laying out these areas for yourself so that you can go inside each one of them and sort of inventory what solutions you have and where they go. And what you should hopefully be left with when you're finished is where there might be voids in terms of where you might need an application to fulfill a solution. So first, let's get these down. I'm in Workflowy, right? So we'll say accounting. I'm going to get the major levels here, communications. And in fact, because Workflowy is smart, I can actually take my list rather than making you watch me type it all out, and I can just paste it in. And I took the bullet pointed list right from the document that I used to do the write-up on this very article and video, and I pasted it in. Workflowy is smart like that. Now, I also linked you over to a mind map that I have, which I'll show you here. That's based on all of this. It's a mind map that I created for myself initially in my research or efforts to research where do we need applications, and all these applications that we're using, how do I organize them? Which area do they fall into, right? So let's say I go into accounting applications now. There's a whole bunch of these, right? So I could say maybe I'm using bill.com, right? What else do we have? BillQuick, Concur. I haven't used Concur in forever. So let's skip that one. But you get the idea. And then, of course, there's QuickBooks Online. And then we can go into communications apps. And let's see what we're doing for communications apps. I'll click over here. I have Feedly, Gmail, MailChimp, right? What you can do is you can go inside each of these areas. Workflow you can get for free. There's a free version which will give you more than enough. You just won't have that fancy looking wooden background on yours. But you can use this to quickly outline what these areas are and in which of these areas you have applications that are in use and which ones those are. And then, like I said, you can figure out where the voids are. So if you decide that you don't actually have a CRM, then you can use something like a hashtag in Workflow and say, app needed, right? It has to be kind of all one word, but these hashtags actually have meaning. If you click on it, it essentially renders a search for anything that's got that hashtag. So once you've laid all this out, you can actually do the filter for these, for whichever ones you've hashtagged that you need an app for. And now you can start doing your research and decide which app is right for you. And as I mentioned in the write-up, at the end of the day, you're going to need to start testing some out. Right? You can get as much feedback as you want. I gave you some links to some forums, one of which, the main of which, is my own forum where we talk about apps and strategies for building and growing your business. But at the end of the day, you're going to need to try one at some point and ultimately decide for yourself whether or not a solution works best for you. Nobody can really tell for sure what you're going to need, where it's going to fall short, where it isn't going to fall short, because it needs to be tested on live use cases and live data, because that's the only way you'll find where the traps are that lead you to stop on an application and say, okay, this isn't going to work. This particular thing is a deal breaker. Or you might say, you know, I wish it would do this better, but I've got to work around and it's enough for me, at least for now. Right? And then, as I mentioned further down in the write-up, you can always go later on and introduce a new application, test it out on a few live use cases, and see if it does or doesn't work better than what you have. And if ultimately you decide it works better, then go with it. Start switching everything over one at a time, starting with all new projects or new use cases coming in going forward. And the ultimate test, I think, and I mentioned this at the very end of the write-up, the ultimate test on this kind of thing is really very sort of organic and very unscientific. It really amounts to this. Which app do you enjoy using most? Because if you enjoy using the app, if your staff enjoy using the app, then you're going to use it, and you're going to make use of it, and you're going to figure out everything it can do, and you're even going to find ways of making it do things it wasn't meant to do. That's been my experience. So the best gauge for whether or not an app is the right solution for that particular part of your business is ultimately going to be the answer to a simple question. Do I enjoy using this application? Will I be excited to come to my desk every day, fire up my computer, and open up this app and know I'm going to be spending the day in this and some other apps all day long, and I'm going to enjoy the experience because somehow, in some way, it makes my life easier. That's the ultimate barometer for what works and what doesn't for you and your business. As always, I invite you to post your comments below, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our blog. I look forward to and welcome your comments. Would love to get feedback, would love to get your questions, and look forward to answering them as soon as I get them. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you on the web.